Good evening to everybody who isn't watching the World Cup. Good to see you all here. Aloha, Lord Materius. Good to see you. I've just sent you a message, by the way. Hopefully you got it and you understand it. So, tonight, not exactly the World Cup edition, but tonight we're going to have a look at Recce vehicles. Half the players I meet really don't know how to use them, and the other half are kind of using them wrong. And we're going to fix that tonight. And I know this because I was that guy telling people the wrong rules. They're actually quite straightforward, but you do need to read through them and understand them. So we'll go over that. We've got a stack of comments from this week's videos. I'm going to go through them on the show tonight. And some of you have been asking really great questions. So we're going to spotlight them here on the show every week so that they're not just buried in a comment thread, and they will eventually go up as a video as this does. But first, I want to do something meaning to do for a while. The show needs a name. We brought it up last week. Still don't really have a name going on there. We kind of call it the Sunday briefing at the moment. And if everybody thinks that's a fantastic name for it, fabulous. We'll stick with that. But I wanted something that actually belongs to the community, something of your own. So tonight, I'm going to put it to you once more. Have a little look, drop your suggestions in the chat, and I'll read through them at the end of the show. As people join us, we'll add that on. But I did want to give you a suggestion that somebody gave me and see what you think of it. They dropped it up to the comments on the show blurb for tonight from Michael Harding. And he said the channel name should be consistently wrong, which I find quite amusing. Maybe a little harsh. I mean, we do get stuff wrong, but don't we all? But if you can come up with some better names, I would love that. So let's have a quick look at who's in tonight. As I've said, Lord Materius, aloha. Good to see you again. We've got Robbie. Or is that Rob Yonts? Anyway, hello, Rob. That's the easiest way to deal with that one. And Leslie. Aloha, Leslie. Good to see you. Caractacus. Always good to see you. We've got the old usual crowd. If you're just joining us, aloha to you guys as well. It's good to see you. And if you want to keep nipping out to see the football score, if you're into football, no problem. Go and have a wee look. But do come back to us. We're a friendly bunch, really. Now, who asked me the question? Rob, you asked me a question, which we're going to come back to in a moment or two, actually. And I'm going to just go out of sync because I want to be able to go on and use the Warlord Games Army Builder. So just give me a second here. I'm going to get that into there, and we'll bring up I think it's that one. I've got too many pages open here. Is it that one? Yeah, it is this one. It should load up in just a second. Hopefully, there we go. Can you see that? Now, we'll come to this in a question, but as we got this question for the US box. So somebody asked if his PopChen could act as a shaped charge, was effectively his question. And because he wasn't really very sure. Now, I'd never heard of this weapon. It's in the artillery section for the Germans, an 88mm Raken 10 Werfer. I hope I haven't done that. 43 PopChen. He's using it in a Fallschirmjäger army. As you say, it's basically a long range. It's a 30-inch range sort of Panzerschreck. I guess it's using the same kind of missile as the Panzerschreck was. And he wondered if he could use it against buildings in exactly the same way as the Panzerfaust. And the answer is yes, or indeed Panzerschreck or any of those other shaped charge weapons, because it has the shaped charge rule on it. So the answer was yes. It has a 30-inch range, which is pretty good. I think this works as an artillery piece. It comes on a kind of light gun carriage, I guess. And you can see it's got gun shield, shape charge, team weapon. Regular, it's 90 points. Now, that could be quite good value for money, I think, anyway. But so that answer was yes. I'm doing it out of sync there. My apologies. So let's come back. If you've ever heard of this weapon, please let me know. This was the first I'd ever heard of it or even noticed it. So shows you how much notice I take of things, perhaps. Let me get back to this one. Let's drop that out. You can get my handsome face back. Look at me. Now, Rob it was who asked the question. He's got the Karahi box. What would I add to that force? Because he's painting that up at the moment, aren't you, Rob? Okay, Rob. A lot depends, as all political answers do. Depends on what type of player you are, what kind of army it is. Now, I would have said I generally play my airborne as sort of defensive troops because they're quite hard to shift. Occasionally I'll let them attack, but usually I'm playing them as a defensive unit to take and hold ground or take and hold objectives. So if you're going to play an airborne army, it depends. Are you going to play them as that kind of defensive force? In which case I would probably add mortars to that. If I was playing it as attacking force, I'm going to be looking at taking possibly M15 gunships as my current vote, or what I'm really liking is the Chaffies, little Chaffee tank, taking them as veteran because they don't cost too much, which gives you the ability to move with gyro stabilizers and fire, still firing on a 4. They also have Recce, which is very handy for them to have. But kind of depends what you want to play. If you're playing historical, you can play it a lot of different ways. Are these guys going to be in one of the actions where they parachuted in which case they don't have a lot to take with them? They could take the artillery pieces that are already in that box. So taking mortars would be a pretty good shout, or even taking heavy machine gun teams would be a pretty good shout. Now, so that's what I would do with the Americans. By all means, contact me, Rob, if you've got a specific question, or you can tell me how you like to play them, or whether you're playing historical. I'd love to find out because I'm just curious and I'm a nosy old man. But I might be able to help you further if you actually need it. There's a few comments coming in there. Butt Mountain, I love that name. Sunday Breezy is fine, short and simple, just like me, short and simple. Thank you for that. You got it right, Rob. It's Rob Yunts. Oh, thank you. Caractacus says confused. His German army book states you can take 5th columnists as only a 5-man unit. Easy Army states you can add further men to the unit, which is correct. I'll have to have a look at that, Caractacus, because I don't have my stuff here to easily look that up quickly, but I actually will for you. The chances are that it's likely that Easy Army is incorrect because it's not really as correct as the Warlord app, which is absolutely spot on. But yeah, we'll kind of have a look at that. Rob's an in-your-face player. Okay. And I prefer to run across the table. Well, it would be worth maybe teaming them up with some half-tracks with a heavy machine gun. Are quite good fun. Put them into a Recce squad. So you've got Recce on those half-tracks with a couple of Chaffies. Depends how many points you travel at, but 1250 points, you would probably get a Chaffee and an M15 with would probably be a good fix for you. Again, have a look at how you're going to play these. If you're a new player, it's slightly different. If you're an experienced player, you've probably got a few more tricks up your sleeve. And again, contact me, Rob. If you need a bit more advice, if you're a new player, I'd be happy to confuse you and give you a bit more direct advice on that. So let's have a look and see. So Recce, let's have a look. So let's start with what it actually is, because I've seen this rule explained wrong more times than I can count. And I've been one of the ones doing it way back in the midst of time. But since I started playing Recce armies, I kind of had to read it and go, oh my God, what have I been doing? So let's have a look. And this is really quite important as well. If Recce is being played against you, you need to know how it works properly so that I'm not saying anybody would do it on purpose, but they don't inadvertently mislead you and put you at a disadvantage. The Recce rule is a special rule on certain vehicles, essentially scout cars, brain carriers, some of the transports you can get Recce on. I really like the Recce stuff. It appeals to my sense of trying to keep my troops alive until I do charge them straight into the face of danger, like the charge of the Light Brigade. I'm not very good at holding back. Maybe a bit like you, Rob, perhaps. I like to be in your face. I'm trying to curb that instinct. Now, what it does is when an enemy target targets your vehicle with a shooting attack, or this works with cavalry as well. Cavalry have the Recce rule, which allows them to do the escape move. The moment they're selected as a target, you kind of have a choice. You can stay and take the shot. Fantastic. Or you can choose to do Recce and do an escape move. Now, depending on your vehicle, there's various rules that govern the distance you can Recce. So the vehicle makes an immediate move. Now, the first thing is he has to move out of line of sight if he can do so. Now, that means that he can't Recce behind something that gives him better cover if it's possible for him to Recce out of sight. So quite often, and I've been guilty of this, you can use Recce to get your vehicle out of out of an open position into a cover position, so that you have, if you survive the shot or do your armor save, however you do that, you can then make an attack on the next turn, because doing Recce uses up your order dice. And you can only Recce, I should have said that, if you have no order dice on you, or if your order dice is on ambush, you can turn it to down, and then you can perform an escape move. Hopefully that sounds simple. But so the first thing is they must move out of line of sight if it's possible for them to do that. They don't have a choice in the matter. Now, the next thing down, so if they can't move out of line of sight, they must move to increase their armor save. Okay? So if they're in the open, they could, if they can't get out of line of sight, they could then move behind a wall to gain an armor save, if that gave them the armor save. And then only if they can't get the armor save, the next thing they must do is move further away. So up until then, they can move forward to get out of line of sight or towards the target. They can move forward to increase their cover save. But if they can't do that, they then must retreat to increase the distance between them and that model. So be aware of this, guys. When people are Recceing against you, make sure they do it in the right order. Most of the time, if we are calling a shot on them, is this true? I don't know. It seems to be true. You really want them to get out of line of sight, get them into a position where they've got to now move to do something else the next turn. That's usually how I want that to move. Now, the other thing is with Recce vehicles is what happens when they fail their order. Now, failing the order, so failing your morale test, is different to a foobar, which is a failure of a morale test, but it's a failure of a morale test of a greater magnitude. So just failing your morale test means that if you have an enemy in your front arc, you must move directly back. And with a recce vehicle, that is a full move. So normally you'd reverse back if you're a normal vehicle that didn't have recce at half your advance speed. All recce vehicles move back the full advance, depending on the type of vehicle. It's either a full 9 inches or a full 12 inches if it's wheeled. And some vehicles, which are dual directional, for instance, like the Germans' Puma, they must do the full run back. So you've got to be careful with some of these recce vehicles. You don't want to hang them too near the edge of the table, or sometimes you want to turn them, even though it's going to be given side armor on. So if you do fail, you are moving sideways. Fubar is slightly different, as you must move to the closest table edge, no matter where it is. So if you've got a Puma, it's probably going to run off the board. So make sure your officer is somewhere close to help him with that morale check. So hope that helps you guys. Just be aware of that, because I definitely wasn't aware of it. But then you all know I'm a cheating old man. So, of course, where do we go? So a lot of the time, it's really good. You can use recce if you've got recce. It's quite handy sometimes to put your recce vehicles out there and let somebody waste a shot. Try and get them firing at your recce vehicles. So quite often you'll see recce vehicles right out in the open. Somebody's got a nice building just to the side, so they can nip out of the way. And maybe that Tiger tank that fired at them, he's wasting his shot. Fantastic. If that's what he's going to do all day, your little recce vehicle is probably well worth its value. Quite often you are running recce vehicles, if they're tracked or half-tracked, into ruined buildings, which they can do, and getting them in a position where you put them on ambush. So if anything moves that's a good target for you, you can take a good shot at it. Or if somebody targets you with a big gun and you don't fancy taking the shot, you just recce backwards out of the building. But remember, you've got to recce that good distance, and that gets you out of line of sight if you're behind that building. Cool. Now, the next thing I was going to have a look at was K47, and you see that Rift dice. Oh, I'm just starting to get into K47. I don't really know much about it. So a lot of this misinformation I'm giving you might come from the Ministry of Disinformation at the moment. Now, K47, as far as I can see, is pretty much the same rules as BoltAction. There are a few wee differences, but the main difference is the Rift dice. So if you can play BoltAction and you can master the Rift dice, you could probably play K47 quite happily. Now, you can play K47 with just BoltAction gear. It runs on a different point system, so you need to check your points. But you're going to have none of the Rift dice, which is the excitement, really, of this game. So, Rift dice. So, certain units and certain weapons have a Rift ability. This is the technology that came through the rifts that was done by the Philadelphia experiment, I think it was, when it went wrong or right, depending on your point of view and the army you're playing. And so all the armies have been reverse engineering this technology and putting it into their armies. So it goes from sort of teleporting infantry to experimental walkers to Tesla weapons, all sorts of stuff. And that's fantastic. And to activate these, we have Rift dice. Now, the Rift and the Rift technology can be a little bit unpredictable. And that unpredictability is what these dice kind of represent for you. So each unit that has Rift abilities, it will tell you how many Rift dice it has. At the start of the game, all these Rift dice are set up in an active state. So if you can see it, the Rift dice, some of the sides, you can see through this one, but that's actually got a plain side on it. There's nothing on it. So that's an exhausted Rift dice. And then we have two sides with a little dot on it. And the little dot means it's an active Rift dice. And then, excuse me, we have one side, which is this, which is shows a surging ability. Now, at the start of the game, you set up all your rift units with the rift dice beside them. So there's no rift dice in the bag at this point, and they're all set to active. And you play out your first game. As you use your ability, if you're able to, you would turn the active side to the exhausted side. Once they're exhausted, at the end of the turn, all the exhausted dice are rolled to see if you can get an active or surge pattern on them. If you don't, and they come up as still exhausted, these dice go into the bag, and you have a different color for you and a different color for your opponent. So it's a bit like the order dice. You need to know whose dice you are. During the game, if you pull out a rift dice, you would pull it out, assign it to a unit which doesn't have a rift dice, but a unit that could have a rift dice, if you follow me. And then you would roll that rift dice to see what came up, and you would apply the result, either active, surging somewhere, or exhausted. And that's kind of how that works out. These rift dice give you certain abilities, none of which I'm very sure about. But for example, the American jump people, what they call fireflies. There we go. What they can do is they could jump and advance into an assault, not an assault, jump and advance into a position where they can fire on somebody. And then by using the rift dice, they could use their ability, turn it to exhausted, and then they get another 12-inch move. So they can jump in, fire, and jump back out again, which fries my brain. I need to do quite a bit more research on the abilities. All the different nations, forces have different abilities. And that's going to be one of the exciting things to find out how they work. I'm going to start off with Soviets and have a look and see how they fare in the game. So I'm quite looking forward to that once I get a few wee games going and once I get my forces done. Sorry, that's my dog just come to babysit me because he thinks I don't know the rules, and he does. I wonder if I could use him as a walker in a game. Oh, that would be interesting. Nobody would probably want to play with me. How are you guys getting on? If you're playing K47, how are you enjoying the game? Do you like the rift mechanic? What's your favorite rift rules? I don't actually have any at the moment because I don't know any of them. Although I quite like the Firefly one I just said. I think the Axis army, they can rise the dead and all sorts of things, and that seems to be quite powerful. But looking forward to get my walkers. I've got a couple of walkers and a few troops. I've got daughters of the whatever. They look pretty strong. Wouldn't want to mess with them in a dark alley. So let me know how that's going. Well, let's come quick look here and see what's been going on in the comments. Oh, Materis, here's a question that I am planning to post in the Facebook group. Oh, what books do you all use for painting? I've bought some Osprey books. I'm wondering if there are any other good sources. I'm guessing you're meaning reference books rather than how to paint books, Lord Materis. I kind of get most of my information off the internet because I'm a cheapskate. But yeah, some of the Osprey books are really good, although sometimes I kind of find it hard to kind of exactly decide what color things are when I'm looking at paintings. But there's some quite good guides, and I'm sure quite a lot of the guys here will have good sources as well. Lurgo, aloha, Lurgo. Don't think I've noticed you before, but I'm awful glad you're there. Turning in while I build some fences for a Normandy table. Excited for the tourney on the 10th. I'm excited for the tourney on the 10th of October. Thank you very much. Sleep well. But yeah, we did some scenery videos shortly. And to be honest, you don't really need to spend a huge amount. You can make most of it yourself if you've got a little bit of hobby time. I know a lot of people that do that, and this turn out excellent. One of my good friends up here, who's more of a train buff, does excellent scenery. I mean, really, really nice, but way above my my level of expertise. But there you go. I've got a few pieces of his, which I don't do justice to. There we go. Rob. A couple of nice comments there. Yeah, good. Good. Largo. First time here. Didn't realize how big the scene in Falkirk is. There is a scene in Falkirk. There's quite a scene in Scotland. There's a new scene in Glasgow. It's been forming over the last 2 or 3 years. I'm sure my friends over the west side will disagree with that. But it seems to be in about the last 2 or 3 years they've really started taking off over in where did that come from? I don't know. Really seems to be taking off on the west side. So that's really, really good to see. Falkirk, the wee shop in Falkirk, is doing. It doesn't stock BoltAction yet, but it does it. Also, Sterling at Common Ground. There is quite a lot there going on. They run at least one Friday scene with my good friend, Scottish Captain Alistair Unicom, and his pals run a Friday. I think it's once a month. They run a big Friday thing in the evening, which is quite good for beginners because they'll talk you through everything. They're a really nice bunch of guys, which is quite nice to attend. I've got my own club actually meets on a Friday, so I haven't actually been to Stirling on a Friday yet. I will try and get one Friday sometime. It would really be quite nice to get out there. Historican was, Historican is a huge thing over in America, a huge show over there. I'd love to go once. I nearly went they want me to go with Warlord, but it got cancelled at the last minute. My favorite rift rule is the Japanese Ghost Warriors, Bonobori. Oh, yes, they've got some really good stuff, haven't they? Crackus, thank you. I'm going to go with the book for the mo. Wise choice, sir. I know there used to be something in Knightley and Bathgate, but I don't know if it's still there. I don't know, Lurgo. I used to run Scottish Nationals in Bathgate, but I haven't actually been out there for a little while. I'm pretty sure the store is still open, Knightley Gaming. So it might be worth booking in. If you really want to get a game sometime, why don't you send me a message? And I'll be happy to meet you for a game, either in Falkirk or Stirling or Bathgate, wherever's convenient for you. I'm happy to play people at any time. Combat. Oh, never seen your name up there before. Welcome, my friend. It's really good to see new people here. A bunch of BoltAction tanks I've never played. Jack Tiger standing around here. So you are not alone. Oh, we love the big tanks, don't we? I've got a load of big tanks that'll never see the light of day, probably, but I still like owning them and doing them. Right, let's move on. Next section I was going to tackle here is a few questions that have come up. This came on the Panzerfaust video. Love watching your vids. Yeah, that's really nice. Always like to be patted on the back. I'm seriously thinking of taking BoltAction up. You should. Who's this one from? It's from Michael Potter. Damn well right. You should take up BoltAction. But you can't find a club in Southeast London. So I think I've actually already answered this one in the past. So look for Selwig, the Southeast London War Games group. They do have BoltAction's tournaments, and they do have quite an active BoltAction section, so that would sort you out. Now, Henrietta Bricks, that was the guy who did the Fallschirmjäger pup chain, if you remember back to the start of the show where I did it out of sink. So the answer to that one was yes, you can use it. It's got the shape charge rule, so you can use it against buildings fairly well. Yeah, they'll kill a few people. Now, Robert Nesful. This one's from the first game rules video that I did. Another bit of practical advice for new players is play the objective, don't eliminate the enemy, which is basically the theme of that video, actually, and very good advice. Once we start playing, and I know that I have been guilty of this so much, is trying to kill everything on the table because I just want to roll more dice and I want to assault everything and it generally doesn't go very well. But you do want to keep an eye on what your actual objective for winning the game is, because quite often you don't need to kill stuff. It's always nice to kill stuff and you have less shots coming in. You've got less dice coming out the bag for your opponent. And these are all good things, but you should always weigh that up against what is going to be the best for winning the game. Although sometimes winning the game isn't everything. You want to have a bit of fun, and I'd encourage you all to have fun first where you can. So that was that one. Yeah, play the mission every time. Now, question 4. Oh, Comabot. Let's have a look. What did I answer to this? So this comes from the game rules video again. From turn 2 on, not all dice may go back in the bag. You can stay down on ambush, so dice will remain with the unit. Absolutely correct, Combat. Yeah, you can put them, or if the unit is down as well, you can leave that down or the dice on, by all means. Got to remember when you're doing that, it's always a choice between, do I want less dice in the bag, or do I want to leave these things on? And sometimes that's quite a difficult choice that we have to make. Had to make that choice a few times. So thank you very much, Combot. Comabot. Sorry, mate, I'm mashing that up. I really appreciate all these comments that people leave here. So thank you very much. It's nice to see somebody live online that I can thank. And then we had a question from Rosa666. That's an interesting name, isn't it? I love all these names. This one came in again on the first rules video, first game rules video. I finished my British Commando set last night, sprayed them with varnish, and they all went frosty and are ruined. I warmed the can in warm water, shook it for 3 minutes. I'm absolutely heartbroken. It took me 6 months of painting. I feel like giving up. Hopefully not everybody has had this feeling. I have. I was painting up a brand new commando army because, as most of you know who know me, I love a commando army. You can never have too many commandos, especially Royal Marine commandos. They're the best commandos to have. And the fix for me was actually just to respray them again, and it got rid of the frosted effect. Sometimes if you were doing a winter army, the frosted effect could be quite effective, actually. But usually we're not doing this on purpose. Sometimes it's worth doing a thin coat of gloss varnish if you have some handy, and then going back over. But don't give up. As I say, give them a wee spray. If not, think, could the frosting, if I change the bases, actually complement the models? But yes, it is heartbroken, but you get over it. You never have too many armies, do we? So, yeah, don't give up. Get back into it. And then Lord Darth Viadro. I've got a feeling that probably means something more. This is from the Panzerfaust video. He was giving us a little bit of history here, which when I read this to you actually makes a lot of sense. But the main use of captured Panzerfaust in Soviet service was against German fortifications in urban environments. They captured quite a lot of them. That's historically absolutely spot on. And it's one of the things I genuinely love about BoltAction as a game system, where the rules do align with what actually happened. But sometimes you have to remember it's a game. And sometimes the rules aren't always historical. But it's a bit of a fun game. So, Soviet troops used and captured German anti tank weapons against German fortifications in urban fighting. Well, that's Stalingrad. Budapest, Berlin, where else? The rules mechanic like shaped charge kind of exactly reflects what happened in real life with certainly captured Panzerfaust. I don't know if the Germans used them against buildings. Don't see why not. Usually in the field, soldiers just adapt and adapt and try and survive, I guess. Cool. Right, let's have a look, see what's going on in the live chat at the moment. We haven't lost too many of you to the football by the looks of it. Some of you are dropping out, and good. Hopefully, it's a good game. I think there was a lot of rain when I last looked. Now, let me cool back here. There's been quite a lot of chat going on. Thank you very much for all the chat, guys. Lurgo absolutely joined the BA Scotland Facebook. Yeah, fantastic. That's where you get all the information. You can contact me through there. If you want to contact me, I'll be more than happy to have my butt kicked by you, sir. What else is going on? Leslie's in there. What else is he saying? Yeah. There we go. I use the Warlords mini PDFs for painting. They're kind of basic, but they give you an exact color used for them. They do, and they're really very good for that, and especially for people who are starting off on their painting journey. I'd thoroughly recommend them. At one time, they were free. I think there's maybe a couple of pounds charge for them as downloadable PDF, but that's an excellent source of it. There's lots of good painting guides online. I used to do a few painting guides. I think I might have left a few up. I really enjoy the painting. It's just sort of getting time to be able to do it is the trouble, but we'll get there. Good. Good to see that some of you are chatting between each other. Comabot and Leslie. Yeah, good. Timothy, aloha, Timothy. Glad I stumbled upon one of your videos. Got me back painting and basing after a 2-year break. Looking forward to more rules you get wrong videos. Well, with me, that's going to be a lot because there's a hell of a lot of rules that I actually get wrong. So every time I go to a tournament, I am always like, oh, I didn't know that. Back in the good old days, version 2, I still know all the version 2 rules from being a refereeing internationally, but version 3 has still got me dazed and confused because I'm an old man. But there you go. Yep. Caractacus and Lurgo chat with each other. Where else are we going? Interesting question, Leslie. He's a K47 player, never got into BoltAction, but you might do. Who knows? But so the Recce move for two-legged walker, what changes? I will find out. I actually have the rule book here, but I don't go away from the screen for too long. But I'll have a look and I'll find out. That'll be interesting. It'll get me off on my knowledge trail and maybe have a look at that. Come back next week. I think I'm on holiday next week, but I'm still going to do the show. So come back next week and I should have an answer for you. Don't worry. I play 500 points. First time played since. There we go. I can play 500 points. That's well within my scope. And the tournament in Sterling, as you mentioned it, is, of course, going to be 500 points. TO is Craig, and I am his backup. But I think we'll both be playing in that tournament as it happens. So it's quite small, but it would be good if we could get about, we're hoping to get about 30 players. It seems to be quite a popular thing, the one box challenge that started off. Let's have a look. Where are we going to combat? in reverse, of course. Anyway, we'll find out those questions. Now, mentioning the one box challenge, let's go and bring up the one box challenge. Have a quick look through. It's being held on the Facebook group BoltAction Boot Camp. So let's share that on the screen for just now. We'll take that out of the way and we will try and make the screen a bit bigger. There we go. Does that still come up on your screen? Let me quickly check back. Yeah, it's not too bad. Hopefully you can see that, lads. So let's go along and see the magic that is the one box challenge at the moment. So what you can do is you can come into the BoltAction Bootcamp and I will post the link shortly. This is where a lot of the stuff for the one box challenge is coming up. You can see the Reichspraetorians. It's a good starter army, but I won't go over it. It's a bit much for the one box challenge. That's mystery boxes. One box challenge. I'm going to go out partisans. Oh, let's go scroll up. You'll see there's a lot going on. Who's that good looking chap? So here we've got somebody painting up his troops. They look like Commonwealth, are they? 8th Army, yep. It's really nice to see. What else have we got here? The blue putty at war. So again, one box challenge. What have we got? Oh, he happens to have a British Canadian one. That's really nice. British Airborne. Somebody started off. He's got his bases done. Looks like he's undercoating. Who is this? Josh Ryan. Really nice. A rather dull update. He's given us regular updates, which is really nice. That's what we're looking for. Remember, we've got 2 army boxes to give away, which have been donated by Warlord Games. Oh, look at that. Somebody's got a box of Gurkhas in the new book and a nice cookery knife there. So I don't want to lose to him. We'll let him win. Don't want that knife coming across anywhere near me. Another box, British and Canadian, are looking popular at the moment. This is Russians. Russians are quite a good bet for a 500-point army. Somebody getting them painted up there. Millie Fox, good. Oh, they're making them the men of Czechoslovakia. 8th Infantry, lovely. So we've got a bit of history, something that means something to somebody. I love these sort of passion projects, I guess you can call them. Somebody getting into the anti-tank rifles there. Does that look like Indian? So the British again. Now, somebody here is looking for advice. If you can get in there and tell them which helmets you think are going to look the best. Oh, excuse me. I think there's more than a one-box challenge going on there. My fine man. Who's that? Scott. God, Scott. Oh, that's quite nice. Look at the effort that's gone into that. So this is the first base done. He's going to do these scenic bases, which is really, really nice. And he's got 10 paints he's going to use for the entire force. That is really, really nice. I like that. Scott, good. There we go. Now there's somebody that's given us his list as well. British Airborne. Tough to get rid of them. Now I'm just going to do a quick race up, see if we go. Oh, I like that picture. What are they? That's Airborne. US Airborne. I didn't realize they look quite so good up close. That's really nice. I'd love to see those Paul Fox when they get done. Excellent. And somebody here has done a video. Who's this? Oh, that's me. Must be. It's not come out right. Who cares? Lovely. Richard Hamblin is Japanese Army. They haven't come out quite so good, but he's got quite a lot of models made up there. And this is Russian army. Is this NKVD? Sumatra thrill themed. It's really nice to see these people doing themed lists here. And there we've got the one box challenge. If you don't all know, one box, which is up to 30 models, 30 infantry models. One Warlord Games infantry platoon box. Bits box are allowed to be rated. 3D printed parts are allowed because this is for fun. It's got to be platoon legal up to 500 point force. For the one box challenge, you're not allowed vehicles and you're not allowed any second boxes, you cheats. The challenge is going to finish on October the 10th this year when we go to tournament in Falkirk. And we'll be producing some video from Falkirk. We'll try and do some live video from Falkirk as well. And we'll maybe try and do a wee battle report or two and see what's going on. So let's come back and we'll have a look at what's been happening in the chat. There you go. Get my beautiful face back again. What are we up to? You guys chat between yourselves. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Halftime 0-0. I'm assuming we're talking about the football there. I was going to ask who you're all supporting, but don't tell me. It's going to end up in a fight. I'm guessing there's more Spanish supporters than Argentinian supporters on here, but I could be wrong. Some French painted up. That's Lergo. Oh, French. That's my army. Although I'm thinking of doing a really historical army because the French was chosen for me, which is fantastic. They've played a few times and we'll try and hone in the battle reports for the 500 points where I do a commentary over you and try and let you know what's going through my tiny mind. So you can see how my mind works. But I quite fancy doing yet another commando army, 500-point commando army. It's just finding the time to paint them, Max. I haven't done any painting since last week, so yeah. Yes, Rob. Thank you to all you guys who are giving the new guys here advice. Makes a huge difference to them all. So I was asking you about new ideas for the name of this live chat. I'll give you a few ideas. If you've got ideas yourself, send them in or get in contact with me and we'll have a look at them. So these are some that have been sent to me. So we had stand 2, sort of order you would give to troops. You'd tell them to stand 2. So get ready. We're not doing anything yet, but you'll be ready for when it comes. The after action report, the Sunday sit rep, which again is military language, 0 hour, who knows, or the CO's briefing. But have a look. If you got suggestions, send them in. And that's basically all I have for tonight. So we're just going to wrap up. I'll post this up, and if you sometime tomorrow when I get a chance, I'll try and shorten the video down so you don't get the countdown clock that I do at the start, and we'll label that up and put it up. Again, any ideas that you have for videos you'd like to see, I'll go ahead and try and answer those 2 questions that I was asked about conflict for next week. I can't remember who they were from. One was from, I'll go back and see. Caractacus was one, I'm pretty sure. And I'm thinking maybe Comabot was probably the other one, but I'll have a look through the chat and make sure I answer those questions. So guys, go and enjoy the football. Whoever you want to win, I hope they win. I'm not really a kind of football guy, but I'm quite proud of the Scottish supporters. Got to be proud of something. And Take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you again soon, and we'll come to you next week, same time as usual. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.